Hi Flosstube, my name's Christina and I'm so excited to finally be making this video. I have been watching Flosstube for years and wanting to make my own channel and videos, but I'm a big coward and super nervous to be making this video, but finally decided that if I didn't just suck it up and do it, it wasn't going to happen. So I was bound and determined that today was going to be the day. And of course, things didn't go according to plan, and it is much later than I intended making this video, but we are gonna try and get through this. So I do have to apologize for this crazy shadow behind me. I put every light I could in this room and I still couldn't get rid of it, so I'll try just not to move around a whole lot and make that noticeable. It's also storming outside, which played a factor into delaying my recording, but hopefully the storm's moved on. It's just a little rumbly outside, but hopefully it doesn't come back and make some big clap of thunder. I'm also gonna try and get through this video before my husband comes home because he has rehearsal. It's about almost 10 o'clock now and he's supposed to be home at 11, so we're really gonna try and get through this. So a little bit about myself. I am 32 years old and I am currently living in and working in the Houston area. I'm not originally from Houston, but this is where life took me, and I've been here for almost 8 years as a chemist the whole time, and I love my job and it keeps me very busy, which takes away from my stitching time, unfortunately, but gotta do what you gotta do. I am also married to a wonderful guy. We've been married 6 years this month. And I am the mama of a wonderful 19-month-old little handful of a boy. So hopefully also he doesn't wake up and start screaming while I'm recording this. We're gonna hope he sleeps through the night tonight. So I guess the first question is, when did I start stitching? And the truth is, I have no idea exactly when I started stitching, and I have no idea what my first project was, and I've watched a lot of Flosstube, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. Most people will really remember, but the reason I don't is because I was very, very young. So I guess to go a little bit into that story is that I love all crafts. I always have. Stitching is by far my favorite, so I will definitely mostly be talking about stitching on this channel. Don't worry. But to go way back, my parents were high school sweethearts. But because of that, I grew up with two grandmothers who lived about 2 minutes away from each other, because not only were they high school sweethearts, they were high school sweethearts in a very small little town in upstate New York. So we lived in upstate New York. We lived close to my grandmother's, and they were both always right there, and they were both very much into crafts, both of them. So I spent most of my summers with my mom's mom, and because she was retired right around the age that I turned 5, so I spent many weekends and summers with her, and because we were so close to my other grandmother, we would go visit her. And because my grandmother was retired, she would do her housework for the day, and then the rest of her day she would spend watching shows and crafting. And her crafts were, at the time, mostly plastic canvas and cross stitch, and a little bit of, plastic canvas and crocheting and a little bit of cross stitch. So when I would spend time with her, me being a very weird child, instead of wanting to play or do anything crazy, I would sit for hours and watch her craft when I was 5. And so around that time that I was turning 5, she got tired of me just looking over her shoulder for hours a day and finally decided to teach me plastic canvas. And so I picked it up very quickly because I had been watching her do it for so long. And at some point after that, she taught me how to crochet. And then around that same time, my other grandmother, who owns a yarn and craft store, when she learned that I was doing plastic canvas and crocheting, she decided to teach me how to sew. So she would teach me how to sew pillows and little like potpourri ornaments and things like that. And I just fell in love with making things with my hands, and I branched out after that, and people would just get me craft kits of all kinds of things, and didn't matter what it was, I loved it, and I would teach myself how to do it. And yeah, so I've been crafting since I was 5. I started with plastic canvas. I believe that I started stitching within a couple years after that. I don't remember exactly. And one of the biggest reasons I want to do a floss tube is because I started so young. I didn't really appreciate the work that I put into my own crafts. To me, it was just something that I enjoyed doing. I didn't understand that hand making things was so special. So most of my crafts are gone. I would make gifts for people and give them away because that's what kids do, and they're proud of their things that they make. They give them to people as gifts. So my first stitching project, long gone, don't remember what it was. Many things that I crocheted or plastic canvas or sewed, gone. And I've never just been good at getting pictures of the things I made, or keeping track of them. And the last couple of years, I've really been disappointed in that, and sad that I don't have those things and those memories, at least pictures of them or notes or something. So a couple of years ago, I did start making notes of everything I was working on when I started it and finished it and all the details. But even then, I've just noticed that I am not good at keeping up with those notes. I have been much better about taking pictures at least. But I just really want to document. I want to remember the journey of, making these things now that I'm old enough to appreciate them and understand the work and love that I put into each project. I just want those memories. I would say I still give a majority of what I make away, because unfortunately another side effect of starting so young is that people have come to expect me to make things for them. So I get requests, or things just get passed on to me to make for other people, and so I don't get to do a whole lot of stitching for myself or any kind of crafting for things for myself. And I'm also trying to change that a little bit. I love making things for other people, but it's just time. I've done it for so long. It's time I do things that I want to do for me. So that's why I want to do Flosstube. That's why I'm so excited to start this journey. Again, super nervous, but I am excited. And I've seen so many Flosstubes where people make lots of friends in the stitching community, and get to go on retreats, and people watch their videos and they make friends through that, and all of that would also be wonderful. Because I am largely self-taught, I don't really know anyone else that stitches or you know, enjoys crafting that are my age or in my area. And so that would be wonderful as well, but it's all secondary to me just wanting a document of my journey. And so if you have found your way to my channel and you're here, welcome and thank you. And just thank you for listening to me and sharing in that journey. But I'm really happy to be here for myself as well. So, what's going on in my life as far as my crafting goes right now? Truth be told, unfortunately, I am not crafting nearly as often as I would like. Things have been really hard, having a baby in the last 2 years and then a pandemic and everything going on, but I think I'm finally starting to get to a happy medium of life. You know, working full-time and coming home to a baby who demands all of your attention, and one that, you know, didn't like to sleep for a very long time as well. Definitely put a damper on my crafting time, but we're getting there. He's, you know, finally not nursing before bedtime anymore, and he's going to sleep on his own and sleeping through the night most nights. And yeah, so it's giving mama some much needed mental break time to where I can get the housework done at a reasonable time and sit down and have time to stitch. So we are getting there, but it's slow going. So probably only going to be posting videos about once a month for the time being, because I'm just not able to stitch enough to make any more often than that worthwhile, because I won't have anything to share. I have largely been a very monogamous crafter for pretty much my whole life. I've only ever had one project at a time. Many times I will have to put down a project I'm working on to do another one if it's for somebody, a baby's coming or something like that. But then I go back to picking up my other project when the baby gift is done or whatever gift is done. The last couple years I have definitely changed that because of what I've been stitching and working on. Lots of bigger projects that I have definitely felt burnt out on. So I have started a rotation, currently doing like a weekly rotation. So I work on one project a week and rotate out. So hopefully I'll be able to make some progress on a couple different things and have things to share and show you. Okay, so first I'm going to show you some finishes that I've had in the last couple years that I just had easy access to. I am the worst at fully finishing things. I do it for gifts, but then when I have something that I just make either for myself or just because, it just sits in a basket. So that is another thing that I'm hoping these videos will push me to finally finish things. So I will go through this little pile here and show you what I've been working on the last couple years. Okay, so this first one is the oldest one I have here, and I don't remember anything about it whatsoever. It is, I believe, from a kit, and it's needlepoint. It's all tent stitch, and it's on this sort of canvas. So this was a stamped kit, stamp painted, where basically it's not counted. It had the colors on the canvas, and I can't stand that because, you know, the colors are sometimes half and half and you don't know what to stitch where, but it was a cute little kit and it was something to do. I don't remember if I bought it or if someone gave it to me or it came from my grandmother. But it's a cute little horsey. As I said, all tent stitch with some back stitching. I don't even remember what year I did this, but it was in my finishes basket. So I figured why not share it. So pretty little horse. Okay, this next finish is one that I'm very proud of. So this project I started when I was in college. I believe it took me about 6 months, and it was the first project really that I did that wasn't like a kit, where I bought a pattern, I bought fabric, I bought floss, and I was super proud of it. Worked on it between studying in my dorm room. Probably drove my roommate crazy because I'd stay up all hours of the night stitching. But it is Doctor Who. So this is a mashup of the 10th and 11th Doctors, if anyone out there is a Doctor Who fan, with the TARDIS in between. And I don't remember exactly where I got the pattern from. I know it was Etsy, but I don't remember the shop name. I looked everywhere for it today. Obviously, I want to give credit where credit's due, but I couldn't find it. So we are in the middle of, well, not in the middle of, we just got a new computer, and I'm in the middle of transferring all my files over. So hopefully after I transfer them, I'll be able to find it, and then I'll come back and tell you the shop name if they still exist. So this is on 18 count white Aida, and it had 200 DMC colors in it. How crazy is that? And I think it took me about 6 months, full coverage. So there's that. Okay, these are not in any particular order, just sort of how I grabbed them. Okay. So the next project, the next two projects actually, are projects that I worked on all while pumping at work after having the baby. And you'll see a lot of the stuff I've been working on the last couple of years are all attached to pumping at work, because that was about the only stitching time I had. Because I'd work all day and I would get 15 minutes every time I pumped to stitch a little bit, and then, you know, come home and take care of the baby, make dinner, all that stuff. And by the time we finally got him to sleep and dishes got done and all that, there was no stitching time. So most of the stuff I worked on in the last couple years was all while pumping at work. So this is one of them. So this is a cute little butterflies. Don't want the light to wash out there. Let me see if there's something I can hold up behind it. Here we go. Here we go. So these cute little butterflies. This pattern was from the World of Cross Stitching August 2017 edition. So basically I just downloaded this and I was like working patterns out of it while I was pumping, because most of the patterns in magazines are smaller and quicker stitches. So yeah, and this is on, so this pattern was the like freebie gift that comes with the magazine if you buy the hard copy. And I think it was supposed to be like in a greeting card that had like a cutout in the shape of the butterflies. But since I downloaded it digital, I obviously didn't have the card or the fabric that comes in the little kit. So this is just on a random piece of like pale yellow 14 count Aida that I had in my stash. And these little butterflies look like it should take you, you know, a day or so. But again, because I was only working on it 15 minutes at a time, this took me a week. This has 14 different colors in it. It doesn't look like it, but there's a lot of colors in it. So basically every time I went to pump, I would do a color, and so it took longer than it should, but it's super cute. Little mama and baby butterfly there. And because it was a kit with the magazine, it actually didn't have like DMC codes for it. So I have a box of random floss that have come from either kits or just things people have given me that I didn't know what brand it was or anything. And so it called for like certain colors in the pattern, and so I just was able to use up some of my miscellaneous floss to do this, which was great. So cute little butterflies. The next one I also did while pumping at work, and it is also from the World of Cross Stitching August 2017 edition. And so I worked on this last year from about May to August at work. And it's this sweet fawn pattern. Let me hold it with the white here. It's this sweet fawn pattern, and it's just on a random pale blue 14 count Aida. So isn't he cute? I loved his little butterfly. Like, it matched the mama and baby butterfly I did, and his little bow. So he's really sweet. And I know it's probably not bluebonnets that he's frolicking in, but I'm living in Texas and we love bluebonnets, and it kind of looked like bluebonnets. So he's sweet. So this has 27 DMC colors in it, and it's on 14 count blue Aida, and I really need to like get this framed and put this in baby's room because he's just so precious. So okay, so the next three are kits that I got from Herrschners. They had them on sale, a group of 3 Mill Hill buttons and beads kits, autumn themed, and I thought they were really nice. I love buttons and beads kits. If you haven't done one, you should try it. They're perfect for like when you want to stitch something kind of quick, that doesn't take a whole lot of brain power, but like looks super good because they're all really small and cute, and it's just fun to work on some beading and stuff sometimes. So the first one is, and I think these are actually in reverse order that I stitched them, but that's okay. So this one is called Autumn Woods, and it is just, I love those colors. Those oranges and yellows look so beautiful. So, and there's a little bird button and the beading throughout. So I worked on this in May of 2020, and it has 17 combined DMC and Mill Hill beads, different colors in there. And it was stitched on cantaloupe perforated paper, which is the other awesome thing about these buttons and beads kits. They're all on perforated paper, so it's fantastic because you can just slap the perforated paper on some stretcher bars and go to town on it. It's really great. They're easy to see and stitch on, and it's just, I love these kits. They're so much fun. That's that one. So the next one was called Gazebo from Mill Hill Buttons and Beads, and I worked on this September of 2019, and it's 31 colors when you add up all the DMC and beads, and the little button here, little tree button. I love the little doggy in here. And again, I just love the fall colors, and this gazebo was so precious. And that was stitched on antique brown perforated paper. So that's that one. And then the third one, my notes over here. Okay. So this one is called Mum Wreath. Mum Wreath, and I worked on this January of 2019. That's when I finished it. And it's got 23 different colors when you add up all the DMC and beads. And it's stitched on navy blue perforated paper. Sorry. And as you can see, this one's actually fully finished. So I'm super proud of this one. I did frame it myself, and I've done plenty of stitching gifts before where I've just like wrapped the stitching around some foam core and like shoved it in a stock frame. But I was really proud of this one because I actually took the time to like mount it properly on some sticky board and foam core. And I even put a nice dust cover on the back. So I'm really proud of this framing. And I'll have to put the details on there and hang it up. But this frame, I believe it was plum was the color of it. And these frames are actually made by Mill Hill to fit these kits. They have a ton of different colors of these frames. They even have some that they have like little decorative painting on them and stuff, so they're really cute. And each Mill Hill kit actually suggests like 2 or 3 different color frames of the frames that Mill Hill makes to use with the project. So they tell you the one that they use in their cover photo on the pattern, and then they give you like a couple other options too, which I think is awesome. Take some guesswork out of it, especially if you're ordering the frame online and you can't tell the exact color of it. So I think that's fantastic. But yeah, so I'll have to frame the other 2. I have the frame for the gazebo already, so I just need to get my butt in gear and finish it. But love this. It's beautiful. It's fun and flowery. And that is all the finishes I have to show you, for right now at least. I have more somewhere around the house, but that's what was easily accessible. So now I guess we will move on to my current whips in my rotation. And the first one I'm going to start with is knot stitching. I know some people only come to Flosstube channels for stitching, but I'll go through it fast and then I'll get to the stitching, I promise. It's the only one I have that's not stitching currently. And it is knitting. Now, me and knitting are a little bit arch nemesis. As I mentioned, I love all crafts. I really do. And I love how knitting looks. And I think my issue with knitting is that it is the last craft I learned how to do. My grandmother learned how to knit when she was 8 years old, and she was bound and determined to teach me when I was 8 years old, because that's what age apparently you're supposed to learn how to knit. So she taught me, and I think by that point I was just into so many crafts that I just couldn't wrap my head around knitting as well as I could around everything else. And so since that time, I've always constantly been on the struggle bus with my knitting projects. And I love the way they turn out. They look so pretty, and it's so cozy and comfortable, and it just comes out a lot softer than crocheting. I love crocheting. I'm really good at crocheting. I'm really fast at crocheting, but I just keep wanting to knit, and I start it and I have to put it away for a while because it just feels so slow, and like it's just harder for me than everything else for some reason. But I do have a knitting project going currently. I'm really proud of it so far. So I'll show you that really quick. So this is my knitting project. It's got this cute little lace pattern. I'll try and show you the whole thing there. Yeah, so that's what I have. And so this is going to be a lace poncho. And if I can figure out how to edit in a picture, I will put a picture of that here. Okay, so hopefully the picture got inserted. But little information on that pattern. The pattern I got from Let's Knit magazine, the April 2019 edition. And it was a digital download from Pocket Mags, same as the World of Cross Stitching magazine, by the way. So I started it in July of last year, so that's a year. And it's going. That's a pretty good chunk of knitting for me. And the yarn is, it's one ball, not one ball of yarn, but one type of yarn. And it's called King Cole Twirly Tweed Chunky, and the color is marshmallow. So, and the story behind this yarn is that apparently you can only buy it in the UK. So I went on several different stores trying to buy it online, and because that's what the pattern called for, in that color, and I couldn't find enough balls of the yarn anywhere in that color. I finally found it in a black variegated yarn, and I ordered it, and I waited months and it never showed up. So I contacted the store again, and I said, I know, and this is at the height of the pandemic, mind you. So I said, I know everything's taking a long time to ship, and I don't want to be a pain in the butt. But I don't know how much longer I should wait before we decide that it's lost, or, you know, what I should do. And they told me, like, if you haven't gotten it by now, it's lost somewhere. So they offered to try and replace it, but then they didn't have enough of the black for me to do it. But they had gotten in the marshmallow. So I got the marshmallow, and then about 3 months later, the black shows up. So now I have all this black yarn after I started it with the marshmallow. So I might make 2 of these. We'll see. But yeah, so this is the back, and I've only got a couple more rows to do before the back, and then I've got to shape the shoulders and do the front side, and then attach them, and it'll be a poncho. So I'm really excited. I think this is the first thing I've knit that's like going to be a garment. I've done blankets and scarves and a tree skirt, but this will be the first thing that's wearable. And I decided to start with besides a scarf, but I decided to start with a poncho because it looked easy, because it was just kind of 2 panels that you attach at the shoulders. So we'll see how that goes, and then maybe we'll try a sweater or something really difficult. Okay, back to stitching, I promise. No more other things today. Okay, so my next current whip in my rotation is a stamped cross stitch piece. Now I don't like stamped cross stitch. Not against anyone who does like it. I struggle with it because I feel like I can't ever make my stitches perfect because I'm not counting threads that are, you know, an evenly spaced distance apart. I'm just trying to match the stamped portion. But the reason I'm doing this is a project that my grandmother, the one who knits and has the craft store, she started this stamped quilt for my baby, and she decided that she just wasn't going to do it because stitching's not really her thing. She's a knitter through and through. That's her passion, and she is amazing at it. But she started this stamped quilt, and she just decided that she wasn't going to finish it, and she really wanted my baby to have it, so she gave it to me and said that I should finish it because she knows I love to stitch. So I'm doing it because she wants him to have it, so I'm going to make sure he has it. So yeah, and I mean, he's might be too old by the time I finish it to have little blankets like this, but I'll save it for him, and I'll make a nice chest with all his handmade gifts in it when he's older and give it to him. But we'll see. Maybe it'll get done. So she did start it. Actually, let me show you a picture of what it's going to look like. So this is a kit from Janlin, and it is copyright 2004, so I don't know if you can still get this or not. I mean, 2004 wasn't that long ago. I don't want the light to wash it out here. But it is, so it's this cute little scene with these little bears looking up at the moon and some curtains and stars up here. So cute little kit. There. So if I can show you. So she had done, she had finished this little star here on the curtain, and she had finished these 3 stars over here. And she had done like some of the blue highlights in these stars, and she had done this star here, and she stitched all of these boxes down to the bottom and across the bottom there. So I've only worked on this. I started working on it about 2 weeks ago. It was in my rotation for the week 2 weeks ago. So I finished up stitching in the stars and started the back stitch in the stars. I got a couple more stars to back stitch. And then I started the blue in the curtains over here and a little bit of the stitching in here. So it's actually going pretty fast because as I said, I only worked on it a couple days, I think, the week that I was working on it. Not for very long. And I got all those stars done and the back stitching and everything. So maybe it'll just go fast and I can put it away for him. So, but it's cute and I love that she wants him to have it. So I'm going to do it. Might take a while, but I'm going to do it. Okay. So my next whip. This one has quite the backstory. So my mom's mom, the one that taught me plastic canvas and crocheting, she did start stitching when I was a little bit older, and she at some point decided that she was going to make everyone in the family a cross-stitch stocking, and that was just going to be her thing, that she was going to make every single one of us, you know, all the grandchildren and her kids and their spouses, cross-stitch stockings, and that we were going to have them. And it was wonderful. We all love them. But a few years ago, she started losing her eyesight, and she just was struggling to do any sorts of crafts, and she eventually just decided that she couldn't do it anymore, which is so sad. I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't stitch. But she was, she's in the middle of a stocking that I don't think she had anyone in mind for it. So she gave it to me. My other grandmother had been getting rid of some of her cross-stitch kits that hadn't sold in a while, and she had a lot of stocking kits. So she had given them all to my other grandmother. And so she had all these stocking kits that she gave to me when she decided she couldn't stitch anymore. And one of my cousins had lost his stocking in, he had some water damage in his apartment because another apartment in the building caught fire, and when they were putting it out, it caused water damage to his apartment, so he lost his stocking. And so she was going to re-stitch it for him because he was really sad that he lost it. And my other cousin had just gotten married, and they have 2 kids, so his wife didn't have a stocking yet, and their kids didn't have stockings yet. And yeah, so the stocking torch has been passed, and I have a long list of stockings to do. I had already at that point decided that I was going to do my husband's stocking for him instead of her doing it. because I thought that would be really special. So I was already working on his stocking before she decided that. And when she decided she was done and passed everything along to me, I finished my husband's stocking, I re-stitched my cousin's stocking that he lost, and then I started on the rest of the family. So one of the reasons that I started doing a rotation instead of being so monogamous was that I was stockinged out. I love stitching the stockings. I love that it's a present that we can all have and share, and it's just so special for Christmas. But I want to stitch other things than stockings. So I am always going to have a stocking in my rotation for a very, very long time until everyone stops having babies. But yeah, so my next whip is my current stocking rotation. And it is for my cousin's wife. And okay, so here is what I've got so far. So it is full coverage, let me tell you. This is my second full coverage stocking. I have done 2 that are not full coverage, although all of them are almost all full coverage. So stockings just take forever. And I'm really glad I started a rotation because I can work on other things. I love the stockings, but I just want to work on other things sometimes. So this is how far I've gotten. I've been working on this one about a year as well. Let me tell you, this one and we've had our moments. So this stocking is a Busilla kit. So it's called Tiffany Nativity. So it's like stained glass looking nativity scene. It's gorgeous. I love the purples and blues in this. It's really, really pretty. But because it's a Busilla kit, came with its own brand of floss. And that floss did not have DMC codes or conversion or anything. And I have no idea how old this kit is. Like I said, it had been in my grandmother's store for a very long time. And copyright 1999. So it's old. It's getting up there. So it had been in her store for a long time and she hadn't sold it. So she gave it to my other grandmother because she knew that she did stockings. And then I don't know how long she had it before she gave it to me. But so I started the stocking, and as you see, it is on 14 count white Aida, but it's full coverage. So all the background is stitched black. All of this. So this kit came with a big old hank of black floss, and I started stitching this, and the top 2 rows are just solid black. 2 rows, solid black, right? And it calls for 3 strands for the black. Everything else is 2 strands. And I started stitching, and I got about 3 stitches in, and the floss shredded, just completely shredded apart. And I kept trying like crazy to stitch these 2 rows of black, and the floss just shredded. It became impossible to do 3 strands at a time because one strand would shred and the others wouldn't, and I'd have to cut the whole thing, and it was a nightmare. And my stubborn butt just wouldn't give up on it. I don't know why. I think I was just really scared that all of the floss would be like that, and because I had no way of converting it without going like color by color comparisons to my DMC floss, I was just scared and didn't want to give up. So at one point I was literally stitching 1 strand and just going over each half leg of the cross 3 times, and it was taking me forever, and it took me way longer than it should have to give up and just grab some black DMC. And thankfully, all of the other floss is fine. I have not had a single problem with any other floss color, just the black. So must have been the dye or something was just deteriorated the floss. But yeah, I held out for way too long. So now we're moving along with the black DMC, and all is good. I'll have to fix a couple stitches that came out because of shredded floss at the top, but otherwise we're doing good. And it is full coverage, so I am using the parking method because I find it's so much faster with full coverage pieces, especially when there's a lot of confetti. And yeah, so this has taken me quite a long time, but I think the rest of the stocking is going to go much faster because there's a lot less confetti in the rest of it. See, the top here is, oops, sorry. See, the top here is all like stained glass in different colors, but in the bottom here there's a lot less color changes in confetti, so especially this middle section here, I think it's going to start going much faster. So I love it, it's beautiful. And then after I started this is when, so my grandmother had given me all of her stocking kits. Then after that, she gave me her stocking books of patterns. And these books are awesome. So I'm going to show them to you just quick. So these are by Donna Cooler, and it's her stocking collections. And they just have a ton of different cross-stitch stockings on them. So several of our family stockings have come from these books. This one's like my sister's, this one's my aunt's. This is one that I'm going to be working on soon. So just lots of stockings. But anyway, so I got these books after I started that nativity kit. And so I start looking through these books when I get them. And what do I see on the very last page of one of those books? Same pattern. But guess what? This one, not full coverage, stitched on navy blue Aida and DMC. So thankfully, if I do have any problems with that floss now, I'll have the DMC codes to go to and find. So thank goodness for that. It's very good, but missed out on stitching it not full coverage. So, oh well. Oh, and also this needle minder I made. How awesome is that? I made that with resin and alcohol ink, and they're so cool. I've made them in so many different colors. I've given them to friends and family as fridge magnets, and they're just so cool. Everyone's different. They're all so unique. Let me see if I can, I don't know if I can get it close, but yeah, see? It's just kind of cool. So, okay. And then my last whip. So this is the last one that I did while nursing. Oops, sorry, dropped one. I mean while pumping, not while nursing. It's very hard to stitch while nursing. While pumping at work. So this has so far completely been done while pumping, but I'm not pumping anymore. So I'm gonna have to finish it up, not pumping, but I love this project. I'm so excited, y'all. So it is the Cornwall Cottage sampler by Rosewood Manor. And this is a first for me in so many ways. So this is what I have done. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's almost done. So I just have the bottom little section here to finish out. So this is my first project on linen. And it's on 32 count cream Belfast linen. I'm doing 2/2. So first project on linen, loved it, love it. I love Aida, it is great. It's definitely good to start stitching on. Love linen too. it's beautiful. So I'm excited to have that in my repertoire now. It's beautiful. I'm so proud of myself. This is also the first fancy floss project that I've done. So it's Weeks Dye Works, and it's only 6 colors, guys. 6 colors. Like, it's fantastic because it's so beautiful. I love the colors. Love them. It's so pretty. It's really also my first, like, big sampler. So, lots of firsts. And I'm proud of it. And it's memories because it's, you know, a time when I was being a mom and pumping and, like, yeah. So, it's just beautiful. I love it. And then another needle minder I made. This is a blue one with some gold in there. That's really cool. So, love these. And this comes with little mini projects too. I can't show you, there's no pictures of them, but it's just the pattern. But it came with, like, I think 4 or 5 little mini patterns in the big one. So, yeah. So I'm hoping to finish this one up soon because I love it. I definitely need to fully finish this, like, right away. I have lots of other fabric for the little mini stitches. So, but yeah, so I'm really proud of that one. Okay, that's all my current whips. One last thing to show you is an upcoming whip that I'm so excited about, guys. So excited. So as I mentioned, I've been watching Flosstube for years. So I've watched a lot of you out there. And I love all of you. I think it's such a wonderful community. Everyone's just so amazing. Just so amazing. I love it. I love it. Well, a couple months ago, I was watching Country Stitchers, Deb and Liz, and they're just so beautiful and amazing, and they're always doing giveaways and just giving away these awesome patterns and boxes of stitching stuff, and they're amazing. So I won a giveaway, guys. I won. I couldn't believe it. I had to watch the video. Like, I had it on in the background. I was doing other things, and I had to, like, I heard my name, and I was really confused, and I had to rewind it like 3 times before it sunk in that they were talking about me. But yeah, so I won, and they sent, oh, this is so cute. They put, like, a little card with Country Stitchers on it. It's so cute. But I won. I hope that light's not washing it out too much. Hold on. Okay, so fresh cut from It's So Emma Fat Quarter Shop, and this is just so cute, and I think it's gonna be just an awesome little quick stitch. I really do. It's really cute. So I'm so excited about this. So I immediately, before even getting the pattern in the mail, went on Fat Quarter Shop and ordered everything for it. So it calls for Cosmo floss, which I didn't have any of. And I figured I'd try it instead of converting to DMC or something. So I bought all the Cosmo floss. So this one is just 6 colors too, guys. And they're so bright and beautiful. So I bought the floss. And then it called for Bisque 14 count Ada from Color and Cotton. This is my first hand-dyed fabric, guys. I'm so excited. Look at that. It is beautiful. It's just so subtle. It's like mostly white with just some pale gray modeling, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And those colors are gonna pop like so beautifully on there. Let me see if I can just, it's gonna be gorgeous. Gorgeous. So my husband was so funny when I got the fabric in the mail. I was so excited, and I was like, look at it, isn't it so pretty? And our lighting isn't great, like in our living room, so I didn't even think he'd see the modeling on it. I thought he'd just be like, it's gray or it's white. But he like looks at it and he goes, it's not the same color throughout. And I said, I know, it's hand dyed. And he was like, but it's not the same color. I said, I know, it's not supposed to be. And he was like, but why would you stitch on something that's like different colors? And I was like, it's supposed to look like that. It's really pretty. And he was like, okay. He was really confused, but it's gorgeous. And I'm so excited to be stitching on a hand-dyed fabric instead of just like some Aida that I had lying around, some plain colored Aida. And so I'm debating. I'm really torn. I don't know if I want to finish Country Cottage first, or oh, that's a baby. Hopefully he'll settle down. So I'm really torn. I don't know if I should finish Country Cottage first and then put this in my rotation, or if I'm just gonna start this soon because I'm itching. So I might. But if you look on the picture, if it's not washed out, this finishing, this beautiful on this like lattice wood with like the bows and backing fabric and everything. So it was finished by Priscilla Blaine. I'm sure all of you know who that is, but so it was finished by her in the picture. And this kind of finishing is gorgeous, but it doesn't go with my house. We have very minimalistic, clean, black, you know, simple frames and artwork and very modern and slimline stuff. So this isn't, I'm not going to do this sort of finishing. It's gorgeous, and I think people are amazing that put this time and effort into their finishing, but it's just not for me when I struggle to find time to finish anyway. So I'm actually going to do the finishing that Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop did. She has a video on how she finished it, and it was a nice simple finish, and I'm going to do it that way. And so I bought stuff to finish it too, and so she finished it on this adorable little blue polka dot fabric, and this is my color, guys. Blue and yellow is my wedding colors. It's the accents I have in my house, and there's blue and yellow in the colors in the pattern. So it was on this cute little polka dot. She finished it, so she put it on a sticky board, and then with this backing fabric on the sticky board, and then she made like a little wall hanging out of it. So I got the little wall hanging she did too. So all the stuff came from Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm in Texas, so it came fast. And I'm super excited for that. So hopefully that'll be in the rotation soon, either because I finished Country Cottage or because I caved and started fresh cut anyway. And that's it. I should get going and hope that the baby settled back down to sleep. He's not crying anymore, so hopefully he's good. But he's had a rough day. It was his first day back in daycare for a while because he's been sick. So he woke up earlier than he's used to, and he's a long day, overtired, poor kid. But yeah, so that's everything I'm working on. That's my stitching, and I'm so happy to share with you. Please, if you found this, let me know what you want to hear from me and what questions I can answer, and bye.